So the two key programs I've done was one called the joint venture. So I teach people how to identify. Should I tell you about this?
Please, I would love to.
So I tell people, let's look wherever you are in the United States, look at a single tenant building, like a standalone building that accommodates like a Jack in the Box, a Starbucks, any QSR, like quick service restaurant. But it's standalone and it's vacant. You will see that they have a sign that says vacant for rent or vacant usually available or for sale. So I train the people to call on these buildings and ask the broker, how much do you want for the building? And then they assess the value of the building. There is a formula to assess value based on rent, etc. And then they use my proof of fund, which is I have funds, I have cash sitting in my real estate funds, and they can say, I'm speaking on behalf of MIGSIF. MIGSIF is one of my funds, Medawar International Group Security Income Fund. And they say, I work with Cherif Medawar. We have this fund. It's been filed since 2009. It's been up and running for almost 15 years now. And look, here's the $1 million sitting cash. We want to buy this property all cash, but this is our offer. Would you represent us? Well, the broker is excited to double dip, represent the seller and a buyer, but we make an offer at a certain price. We show that we're going to buy it cash and we're going to close in about 45 days. Guess what? The broker say, okay, let me get you that price. Let me lock it in for you. Then I train them not only what to say to the broker, I train them how to identify who are the best tenants that will come into that area based on certain area criteria. And I give them a list of tenants, over 4,500 national tenants that would want to lease. We made the effort to compile the list of the name of the tenants. Like let's say, take Subway, who to contact in Subway. And then I train them exactly what size spaces they want, who are the neighboring tenants they like to be next to. And I train these student/joint venture partners on the script, what to tell these big tenants. I have 2,000 square feet, at 123 El Camino Real. I'll send you a video. Here are the details, etc. And there is certain things you send by email to them. And all you need, if you sit down and call 10 per day, and we have the deal under contract for 45 days, within a week to 2 weeks, you're gonna know if you got somebody interested. All we need is one tenant. And when that tenant says, I'm very interested, I'd like to discuss the details, they email me that email, because they usually do it by email, say we're available this day and this day, can we get on a call? And then I get on that call, and with that joint venture student that lined up the deal, with the actual tenants, like we had a call just the other day with Church Chicken, and there was the main guy in charge for the real estate department, the guy that's in charge for opening the stores, and there was my student joint venture guy and myself. And we talked about what's called the letter of intent. How many years they want to lease, how much they're gonna pay, and what are the terms if they need tenant improvement, and all this. There's a whole list that I train people on, and I say, listen to me negotiating. It's on Zoom, it's recorded, it will be yours. You will know that business model for the rest of your life. And we had, to give you an example, we have that property under contract at $800,000, that single tenant building with a drive-through. We talked to Church Chicken, they're coming in, and they're gonna be paying $100,000 a year. It's 97,000, I'm rounding it up. Mm-hmm. You take that rent and you go times 16, the value of the building will be 1.666, almost $1.7 million, because it's become 6% cap. Like people will pay 1.7 million to have some company like Church Chicken have a lease for 10 to 15 years with a corporate guarantee. Those type of tenants give a corporate guarantee. That means we guarantee we're gonna pay you by the publicly traded company. Number two, they take the space and they sign 10 to 15 years. You don't have to worry about it for years. Number three, they give it to us triple net. That means they pay us the lease and they pay it net of tax, insurance, and the value of the building, we have it under contract at 800,000. Now it's gonna be $1.7 million. That's 900,000 jump in value in 45 days. So how exciting is that? In the interest of full disclosure, we're gonna give the tenant $100,000 for tenant improvement. So the gain is 800,000. But the key thing for that student joint venture partner that lined up the deal with me, that $900,000 upside from the deal being under contract at 800 to is gonna be valued at $1.7 million. We know the formula. You go, whatever the rent is gonna be paid times 16, okay? Because that's the 6%. I'm just making the math simple. Whatever the base rent times 16 is $1.7 million. I pay him on that 900,000, I give him 10%. So he literally made some phone calls, used my proof of fund, made some phone calls with the tenants, lined up for a phone call with me, and he's gonna make $90,000. We're only waiting, by Friday, we're gonna know if they wanna sign for 15 years. If they sign 15 years, guess what? I give 25% of that upside. Upside being the contract price versus the value once they sign the deal. And 25% of 900,000, it's almost $250,000. It's 175,000 he's gonna make. This guy was working a whole year making 40,000 a year.
Wow.
And this is his first deal. And I know there is a degree of effort and degree of luck, but such is life. He found the right property. He told them, uttered the exact words I trained him on. It's a very scientific training. I said, this is how I made millions. Repeat it. I'm not all over the country, but now I have a lot of money and I can actually help you grow with me because you're gonna make 90,000 to 175,000 on that deal. There is another gentleman, Shane. He put a success story for me on YouTube. He made 1.1 million in less than 12 months. I mean, it's out there and people say, well, I don't know if retail because retail is not so good. Are you kidding me? The QSR, the quick service restaurants, were the fastest growing even during COVID. They were the ones doing business. So that's like wholesaling commercial real estate. And I went off on a tangent because you asked the question, should people start in residential then go into this? Guess who comes to me now? All these wholesalers that say, I'm doing a lot of wholesaling. I have people calling on people to find a desperate seller. With me, you don't have to find a desperate seller. We're going to the brokers listing the property that's vacant. We put it under contract. We smile and dial for all these national tenants. All we need is one. Let's create a problem. Let's say you did that, Marlon, and you put the property under contract and you're calling tenants. And for 44 days out of the 45 days under contract, not one tenant calls you back. Are you obligated to buy? No. If you put $5,000 in escrow to lock in the property and you show them my proof of fund that you're gonna buy it, you get it back. You have no risk, you have no downside and a huge upside. You just actually practiced calling tenants. And if one of the tenants calls you back and says, I got your message, but we want a larger space, or we want something on the other side of that street, or we want something around the corner closer to the university. Now you know what they're looking for. You go and you get it. The funny part is people do the first deal with me, sometime maybe the second deal, then they're on their own because now they have the experience, they have the training, they have the money because they made it from the assignments to my fund. And my fund, we get them in, we work the deal with the tenants, and then we turn around and we sell the property and get back more cash. So my funds have been growing like this.
You know, and Cherif, I gotta say, I love this because I'm one of the people that I started off wholesaling a few years back.
Oh,
and what you provide with providing the list, providing the proof of fund, you're taking away a lot of the headaches that people experience when they jump into the industry and they're not aware of all the nuance and the moving parts, where you're really like, that's a very, very simple process. And to your point, it's the same amount of work and the same amount of effort to do big deals as it is to do small deals. I would actually almost argue that it's a little bit easier to do big deals because when the payoff comes, it feels much more worth it.
Yes, I mean, even in my fund, we mix all types of assets. So we do that, and we also do high-end residential in San Francisco. So yeah, San Francisco is having some issues with negative news and all this, but you know what's amazing is we are actually getting these high-end luxury properties from 6 million to 25 million. And when I buy them, we take the basements, we actually dig down 2 feet or 3 feet, and then we add that square footage. Costs us $500 square foot to do it, but on the exit is $2,000 square foot, $2-3 million profit per property. It takes us 2 years, but it's very hard not to make money when you have a formula. So my fund is diversified by location: San Francisco, Puerto Rico, other parts of the country with the students. We even do developments in Florida from the ground up for cookie cutter homes that are at $500,000, $450,000.